Hello and welcome everybody to my woodshop. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than we were last week. Last week we were working with our Old Town Predator PDL and mounting plates. This week we are going to be building plugs. And this is one of my first ones and my most successful ones, if you can't tell by the battle scars. I had rattles in this, and I used a screw system to hold the hooks and split rings. This one's seen its heyday and is no longer in use. But today we are going to be building the Gibbs 2 3/4 ounce pencil popper, because this is one of my most successful ones I used last year. So I'd like to have a couple of extras and maybe a couple of different colors, and I can't find these in. So we're going to start with this, and we're going to turn it into that. So let's get to the things that we're going to need today. First off, we're going to need some wood. Now I'm going to want to have a couple of things in mind while I do that. So first thing, right, so 7.5 inches from the butt to the tip of the nose, not just to the bottom of the lip there. And the diameter you're going to need a caliper for. You want to use the largest part of the lure, which is going to be the end. So that's about here. Inch, and actually it's 1.5 inches. So we're going to need 1.5 inches minimum to do it. So you want the diameter of your wood to be larger than 1.5 inches. Alright, so let's chop this up. First thing, we gotta measure this out. Make sure we have the length we want. So it's a 7.5 inch plug, so what I'm going to want is an extra inch or two of space. So I'm just going to round up, and instead of doing 8.5, I'll just do 9 inches. So we have a 9-inch length, so we have plenty of room for error. So now we have our plug blocks. Excellent. So next piece, you have to do cross cuts, so that way it sticks into one end of the lathe, and then you need a direct center for the other end of the lathe so that it can spin on an even axis. So for this, I just use a ruler, that's pencil, which I put over here. We knock out what holds the lure in place while you're lathing. In its place, I take a drill bit, a 1/8 inch drill bit, and it's 8 inches long, okay? And we sit this stationary in the lathe while we stick the lure on the other end while it's spinning. Hold the lure while it's spinning and press it into the lure itself to drill the hole fully centered, because it's going into that centered piece that we made, right? Alright, so next step in this process is we're going to remove both ends. So just chop that off like I did here. Chop that off there, and then chop this piece off. And then we're going to make the angle for the mouth. So the pencil popper has a, like 45-degree angle, more or less, cut for the mouth. So we're going to cut that, and then I've made my marks for the lip, and I basically superimposed the popper on top of the plugs that I've made, and I just traced the mouth the way I think it will be shaped. And what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to take a drill, a wide drill, probably a half-inch would do it. Take a half-inch drill bit and just drill in just slightly, and that's going to make that popping mouth. And I'm going to drill in a little bit, so that when I cut out that angle for the mouth, that there's still going to be that cup on the inside, so that we can make a good splash with our popper when we're wiggling it back and forth. So the middle hole is a little tougher to figure out. What I do is I take the through wire, I lead it through the lure itself, and I kind of line up, it's not going to be directly straight, so I line it up more or less where I think it's going to be, and then I hold a second through wire on top of itself and kind of line it up with that other wire, and that's basically how I get my idea of where the wire is in the lure itself. So I've marked it on the lure. This is 11:30 seconds for the center hole, and I'm going to go for gold. So now we're ready to paint, we're ready to do whatever we want to these things. So what I normally do is I do a base coat of white on all my lures, no matter what color they're going to be. I do a base coat of white, and I do about 2 coats, so it's a nice smooth coat, and then from there I can move on to putting on whatever colors or textures or whatever I want to do. So that's it for making the basic plug. And I think I'm going to let Instagram decide what colors these should be. So let's see what they come up with. And for our other lure, we've let the Instagram followers speak, and they have chosen silver. Okay, our lures are done. Here's our Instagram lure. We did a silver bottom, blue top, red nose, and our Gibbs look-alike, quote unquote, and got the yellow and white blending into the red nose with black and red gill marks. So, not my best work of art. I'm also not an artist, so let's put these lures together. I'll show you how I do it. So here's the things we're going to use. First, we have our through wire. That's going to be what goes through the lure. Then we're going to have our grommets for each hook and or nose piece. So this is the nose, the middle, and then the tail grommet. And then we have our ball bearing swivel for the middle. Our split rings that we're going to put on both hooks, and then our treble hooks, and our single back swash hooks. And then we have weights that I'm going to add to at least one of them, if not both. So more or less for these lures, these nose grommet and the tail grommet do not need to be glued in, but the middle grommet does need to be glued in because that does sit in there pretty loosely. Even though there is a hook that holds it in place with that split ring, it's going to fall out and get in the way of things, so I just like to put a little bit of glue in there. So we're just going to use some super glue.
Please don't talk about me when I'm gone. Oh honey, though our friendship ceases from now on.
And now we have to get the barrel swivel to fall in line with the wire, which is a bit of a pain. There we go, got it. That was a pain in the butt. So what you do with the nose here is you just pinch that loop in and you just pull it all the way through, and that's going to keep that grommet in place so long as you have that tension, which I will work with in just a moment. Now for the weights, they actually slide right on this end piece here, and you can just kind of push them in. Now I'm going to go with 2 weights. I don't know if this is going to be too much, but I want to try it. That does actually feel pretty nice. It sits in there pretty nicely. And then we're going to put this little end grommet on top of everything. And we're going to move to the vice grip. Alright, and for the finishing touch to tie off this end wire, what I use is this vice grip and a pair of pliers. It takes a little bit of getting used to, I'm not gonna lie, but once you get the general idea, it's pretty simple. I clamp where I'm going to bend it right on the corner of the vice grip. I get a pretty good grip there, and I just grab the wire, bend it, get a nice turn, and then from there I start doing my twists. Just like that, we're all set to put the hooks on, and maybe even give it an eye. It's kind of bothering me that it doesn't have an eye, but I can cut this piece off here with just a pair of wire cutters so it doesn't come out and stab me at any point, but this is not going to come undone. Both the head and tail grommets are locked in, and we're good to go. Okay, so we're ready to put hooks and split rings on everything. Voila, all set. Can't wait to catch some fish with these. Okay, and that's it for making lures. This is how I make plugs in my own shop in the middle of winter. Here's our finished product versus our intended copy. I know the dots are huge, but I'm not one for exact replicas, but I think this looks pretty good. And you see the mouth is pretty nice and red there. I even added an eye. I figured, having a little bit of an eye would be pretty nice. I didn't feel like drilling the hole and super gluing eyes in, just because I feel like that's more of a waste. They fall out almost instantly every time for me, and just kind of a hassle drilling into the side of the lure like that. So that's it. We got our Gibbs lure and then our Instagram lure, which I added a little blue on top. Ow! Those are sharp. That's good. Added a little blue on top and then silver on the bottom, so that's what the fish is going to see. They're going to see the silver and then the black for eyes. I was going to add white, but the white didn't actually come out too well on top, so just went with the black and then again the red nose, which you can see. So hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoy it. I love making these lures, and it's even more satisfying when you take them out on the water and you catch a fish with them. And that's what we're going to do as soon as this winter stops. I'm going to get out my kayak and we're going to go out there and we're going to throw these. And hopefully we'll have some fish to catch. So thanks a lot for joining me. Coming up, I have the kayak videos. I have an anchor video that I'm going to do and a kayak cart video. This was an in-between because I needed to do the drying process for all the paint, and then also get a couple of things to the house for online orders for both the carts and the anchor trolley system. So stay tuned. Thanks again for watching. If you like this, be sure to take a look at my channel and subscribe if you want to see some more fishing content. I have some more of that, and as well I've got other DIY videos on kayaks and stuff, so please be sure to like my videos, comment if you want to see anything else. If there was something you were confused about in this video or didn't like and think I should do differently next time, let me know. I'm all ears. Take care, guys.